back to my channel. It's your girl, Sista Gurl on Films, and I am coming back with another movie review. So today I am excited to be reviewing Shaft 2019, starring Samuel L. Jackson, Jesse Usher, Regina Hall, and Richard Roundtree. So if you want to hear what I think about this movie, and if I think that Shaft is still a bad mother, shut your mouth, then stay right there and I'm gonna get right into this review. So enough of all that, let's get right to it. Let's go. So from the first time I saw the trailer for this movie, I was actually pretty excited for this movie. I love to see Samuel L. Jackson in roles where he's playing like the bad MFA, take no crap, kind of, you know, funny, snarky, but he means business type of role. And he's given us all of that in this 2019 version of Shaft. Now, I did look it up and it said that this is supposed to be a sequel to the 2000 Shaft that was directed by John Singleton, rest in peace. But I'll get into a little bit later why I find that very hard to process, even though that's what I saw that this was supposed to be. But this movie was a lot of fun, guys. I went into it honestly with no expectations whatsoever. I enjoyed the trailer. I'll put my trailer reaction up so you guys can check it out if you haven't. I thought the trailer was fun. I laughed in the trailer. And I went thinking I was gonna have a good time, and I did. This movie was a lot of fun. It had a lot of laugh out loud moments in it. It had, like I said, Samuel L. Jackson giving us his most MFing Samuel L. Jackson performance that he could have ever given us. And Jesse Usher was hilarious as JJ Shaft. Like, he really gave me this Carlton Banks vibe. And if you can imagine, if you know the character of Shaft, and you know he's really cool and he's a hard ass and he don't take no mess, and then you have a son that is very similar to Carlton Banks, you can see how there's this hilarious relationship that happens between the father and son. So in this movie, like I said, I love just the overall, it's such a basic concept. Like, a friend gets killed, then a friend is trying to figure out who did it. He enlists help of a family member, and it involves, you know, gangs and crime lords and terrorists, and it's all cliche, y'all. Ain't nothing about this plot like groundbreaking. You're not about to go into Shaft 2019 with a new perspective and a new take on action comedies. Like, you're just not. So if you're going into it looking for that, you're not gonna get it. This was just your basic run-of-the-mill fun, good time at the movies, and I was here for it. It had a lot of cussing in it. Like, I guess I forgot it was rated R, so Samuel L. Jackson had carte blanche to mother effer it all over the screen, and he went for it, and he did. There was a lot of MFing, there was a lot of F words, there was a lot of the P word, there was a lot of the N word. So I'm gonna tell you right now, this movie is not for kids, okay? Like, when I walked into the theater, I saw like a family in there, and it had like maybe some preteen age kids, which I'm not sure how they got in there. I guess because they were with their parents. But right out the gate, one of the opening scenes hinted at a particular sex act, and I was like, oh, okay, there are kind of kids in here. This is going to be interesting, and Emma Effa all up and through it. So do not take your kids to see this movie, okay? I'm warning you now. If you take your kids to go see it, that's on you. Your kids walk around and start saying MF and P this and D this and all that, F that. That's on you, okay? So I'm warning you now. Do not take your kids to go see this movie. But yeah, I enjoyed this movie. There were good performances. I am a huge fan of Regina Hall. I think she's hilarious, and she was funny in this. I loved her in Little, and I loved her in this. Nobody really gave a flat performance. I think everybody, you can tell there was good chemistry in the cast. Like, it was obvious that they all probably got along really well off screen, because the performances they gave on screen were seamless and they gave great chemistry. The only thing that I would say, again, it's not necessarily that I didn't like about it, it's just, again, like I said earlier, that aspect of this supposed to be a sequel to the 2000 Shaft, but in the 2000 Shaft, Richard Roundtree played Shaft's uncle, but in this, he's his father, And then there were no like rollover characters besides Shaft, played by Samuel L. Jackson. So I wouldn't consider this a sequel. So if you were a fan of the 2000 version, then I wouldn't really go into this like expecting this to be like a direct follow-up to that, because it's really not. I really looked at it as just its own standalone reboot of the classic blaxploitation Shaft that starred Richard Roundtree. So if you go into it with that mindset, then you will have an amazing time. You won't spend your time trying to dissect and who is this and what. Don't do none of that. Just go into it with a blank slate and you will have a good time. This movie really reminded me of those old school like 90s action comedies, kind of like your Blue Streaks or your Low Down Dirty Shame. It reminded me a lot of those movies where you laugh and have a good time. The action scenes, they're not over the top. They give you just enough. You know, they're a little cheesy, but that's okay because this movie doesn't take itself too seriously. It doesn't get overly dramatic with family drama, political tones and racism. It doesn't do any of that. And I appreciated that so much because I really wanted to go to the movies today and just have a good time. And I did that. So other than there just being a lot of cussing, and I am not particularly a person who uses the N-word a lot. I don't use it a whole lot. So when I hear it a lot in movies, it makes me cringe just a little bit. And it was used a lot, especially by Regina Hall. She says it like, I didn't even count, but if I had counted, it would have been like an astronomical amount of times in the movie. So that is one thing. And I get it because, you know, in Black culture, some folks use the N-word a lot. So I don't think that was like a stereotype or exploitation or anything like that, because I mean, it is what it is. I know some Black folks that say the N-word like it's nothing. They say it all the time. They don't care where they're at. They say it. So I understand that there are some people out there like that, and that's who these characters were. And that's just what happened. So if you're sensitive to that, just, you know, be aware that you will experience that. I'm not hypersensitive to it. It was just kind of a little bit cringy because it was a mixed audience. And when you get the N-word thrown out there so much in a mixed crowd, it can be a little uncomfortable sometimes. But other than that, I mean, that's a small critique. Like I said, I went into this movie with no expectations of anything, and I had such a good time. This is one of those movies that you have playing like in the background of like a family get together, family barbecue. Maybe when the kids is outside playing, because there's a little bit of nudity here and there, but it was just a good movie, y'all. In terms of just, it was fun. So this weekend, you know, if you're trying to find something to do, you already went to go check out, you know, Aladdin, if you already saw that. All the other, if you saw Godzilla already, and you're like, dang, you know, I want to go to the movies this weekend, go check out Shaft. It is fun, it is funny, it is entertaining, and I think you'll have a good time with it. You know, just don't take the kids, okay? Not family friendly, okay? So let me know in the comments below if you plan to go check out this movie, and if you have already checked it out, how did you like it? And while you're down there, let me know some of your favorite Samuel L. Jackson movies and performances. Off the top of my head, I personally can't think of one particular like favorite Samuel L. Jackson moment other than Snakes on the Plane. Shoot me, okay? Snakes on the Plane is iconic. So you can't go wrong with watching Snakes on the Plane, because that's another highly entertaining Samuel L. Jackson movie. Movie is shit, okay? It's trash, but it's entertaining. This movie, Shaft, is not trash. So go check that out. So thank you so much for watching my review, and like my channel, subscribe to my channel, share my video, and I'm gonna see y'all next time for something else. Thank you so much for your support, and I'm gonna see you next time. Holla.